Good evening and welcome to Thoughts Count Anywhere. We have our four Thoughtsmen, actually our three Thoughtsmen, because Aaron is unfortunately not with us. He's crying because he is the worst team in New York, being the Jets.
Well, he's also playing the role of the dutiful husband tonight.
Yes, actually, that's where he's at. We wish the wife well.
And a speedy recovery.
Better soon? Absolutely, but I think he's truly crying because his Giants, his team. And Matt, how do you feel about the Seahawks?
I don't want to talk about it.
Okay.
Or the kicker.
I'm not gonna lie, that was a pretty good game.
Absolutely.
Shut up.
Thought it was kind of a douche move for your coach to ice the kicker at the end.
Got to do what you got to do.
Well, let's start off with. Wow, Tommy actually we actually have a studio audience tonight. Tommy, one of our great bell ringers and referees from FSW here locally. Okay, he is just giving the bell to Chiefs. Now we know what's going on. Anyway, let's start with I Hear Voices. Matt, kick us off with Randy Rhoads wanting to sign Alexa Bliss. You can something in one hand and something in another, but that ain't going to happen.
I heard at StarCast, Randy Rhoads was doing like a Q&A, and somebody asked her if she could sign any woman in the world right now, who would it be? And she said Alexa Bliss.
She is a rocket scientist.
But with that horrible women's division they have, there ain't no way that's happening.
She can't have her.
No.
Alexa Bliss is one of the few reasons I still watch main roster WWE.
That's the only reason?
One of the few.
Okay. Well, let's kick off the second time.
I like Ricochet and his flippies.
His little superhero character?
Yeah.
Oh. All right, let's continue on with our I Hear Voices and the rumor mill, and let's go to Randy Orton uses AEW to get a higher contract with WWE. Matt, what's your thoughts on that?
Oh, you trolled everybody, including Vince, to get a higher contract for sure.
As well he should. Good job, Randy. We got how many more years did he sign for?
I think it was 5.
5 more years of phoned-in matches. Oh, and he wants to challenge John Cena at WrestleMania. Did you hear about that?
Two best friends in the ring together?
Like, come on, like John Cena versus Randy Orton, WrestleMania 36 for the 5 millionth time.
I'll say, how many times did they headline a pay-per-view? Is it like 20-something for real?
It's up there.
A quick little comment about that. My daughter, I took her to her first WWE card a number of years ago, and she went backstage and got to meet and greet with everybody that I've known throughout the years, and she got introduced to Cena and Randy, and then went out and sat third row ringside, looked at me about halfway through their match, and went, "Daddy, something's not right here." Click, light bulb went on, and I just said, "Go with the flow."
Oh, man, you killed kayfabe for your child at a young age.
She figured it out herself. I mean, kayfabe is what it is.
That's why you never take kids in the back.
Well, in FSW shows,
protect the business
that she, helps us out with, and events. She does kayfabe with her friends, and then realistically, she helps some of the choreography. Yeah. Helps in the back and merch tables and everything. So she knows most of the guys and the ladies, and she's grown up in the business. I give her credit for that. So let's continue on with the WWE is already putting feelers out to sign Tessa Blanchard. Hello, and that her contract is up. Anybody in the right mind would be putting feelers out for Tessa Blanchard.
I think if you're not, you're doing it wrong.
Everybody wants to see her in WWE. I don't think anybody besides your dad wants to see her in AEW.
Well, actually, I can contest to that. Dad really doesn't care. He wants the best for his daughter, but realistically, he has stated, WWE would be the best place for her to go, and also the money would be there. So,
plus, I'm telling you, it's a built-in dream match. There's a built-in WrestleMania dream match.
Who would the dream match be with?
Charlotte Flair.
How about regrouping the horsemen or the horsewomen at that point?
So you're saying team them up as a tag team and have them go after the Kabuki Warriors?
Yeah, you could have. Yeah. you could always
better not be champions by then.
I'm telling you, just picture it. WrestleMania 36, 37, one of the WrestleManias coming up down the line. You got Charlotte Flair in one corner with Slick Rick behind her, and across the ring you got Tessa Blanchard and Tully in her corner. It prints itself.
Well, how about
this is the world we live in of professional wrestling. This is the possibilities we have.
But you can always turn you know, and have like an Arn Anderson Ric Flair scenario.
Does Arn have a daughter?
No, but you could have, you know, Charlotte go against Tessa later on. But yeah, I think everybody wants to see a horsewomen type reunion of some sort.
I'm saying down the line, but I mean, I'm saying the dream match, the one-on-one match that I feel like could even headline WrestleMania at future date is Charlotte versus Tessa.
I could see that.
You know, team them up down the line, sign Tessa to a long-term deal, make this like frenemies kind of thing, but they have to go one-on-one at Mania at one point.
Well,
It's a license to print money.
Well, let's go on to WWE news real quick. The big news from WWE backstage is CM Punk coming out at the end. Why?
Why not?
But why not get the ratings and make him?
That's just it. I think the whole reason they brought him in is because the ratings for that first episode were so terrible.
But realistically, shouldn't you have made the announcement that he was going to be there to pump up that show's ratings?
I think they took the hit on this week. They're letting the shock value sink in, and I think next week, next Tuesday, it's going to be a whole different ballgame. I know I'll be tuning in to watch it.
Me too. I keep forgetting to put it on my DVR until now.
I just discovered today that it wasn't on Hulu, so I had to watch it through more illegitimate sources. But actually,
Are you doing illegal things yet again?
no.
I'm going to call the trademark censor.
I'm telling
right
you,
to
man.
censor or something. Yeah. All right, continuing on with WWE news is Jordan Miles quits WWE, says he won't work for racists. I'll wait on my comments.
You know, we've had a lot of wrestlers quitting, quote unquote, this week. Sin Cara also asked for his release, and they came out and said, "No, we're not letting Sin Cara go." They've said nothing on the Jordan Miles situation, which shows either A, it's a work, or B, they're trying to bury this. But I'm thinking it's more work.
I still don't understand the whole thing. Like, the shirt didn't look all that racist to me, but maybe I'm just out of touch with something. But
It was a pretty bad shirt, but at the same time, you got to prove that stuff.
Agreeably so. And if you, how do you say Vince McMahon or WWE in general was racist when you had Kofi Kingston as your heavyweight champion, you had Mark Henry multiple times heavyweight champion, New Day, you had Atlas and Rocky Johnson years ago. We'll touch on Tony Atlas coming to the Boulevard Mall here shortly. There's my cheap pop. But realistically, how? Even in the days where the African American wrestler had the challenges of Tony and Rocky Johnson, Vince Sr. and Vince put the belts on. Tag belts?
I have something to say about this, but that looks like he's itching.
you can go for it.
Okay,
We're
so
used to that.
I don't think his issue is the fact that black wrestlers are being placed at a level of prominence. I think his main gripe that he's saying is he's against tokenism. He's not upset about the fact that black wrestlers are being used and where their place on the card is. It's what creative has for them character-wise. And WWE really only has two archetypes for black superstars. There is the happy-go-lucky, smiling all day, you know, aw shucks boss kind of character, or it's the quote-unquote angry black man.
Then what's the New Day? Because they ain't either.
They are they are kind of the token of
Ron Simmons.
Ron Simmons originally debuted as a gladiator.
Oh, I understand that, but characters change. Don't forget who Ringmaster was.
But it didn't work as the gladiator, so immediately they shoehorned him in as a black militant, the angry black man. And you have a stable of angry black men around him.
And Owen.
And Owen. Yes. And Owen.
We have our studio audience cheering.
But originally the NOD was, they had those two white rappers in there. And literally,
Agreeably so, but you also had a rapper in John Cena.
but then you had Farouk come out and say, no, we need to get blacker. And he kicked those two chumps out. You know, he kicked Crush out. And then Crush started the...
And D'Lo Brown, Intercontinental Champion.
D'Lo Brown's a black man.
Right.
You know, I'm saying that there's only been two archetypes for black superstars for as long as I can remember. It's either angry black man, Oliver Root of Farouk, Mark Henry at his heel run, Rodney Mack, or you have the happy-go-lucky, all smiles for days, Teddy Long, Jordan Miles, R-Truth,
Like, wouldn't somebody like Mustafa Ali have like a better gripe about this? Because Arabs in wrestling have one stereotype.
Actually, Mustafa Ali
One.
kind of Mustafa Ali actually, and for one, the Mustafa is back, which I'm glad for because Ali just sounded really silly. But Mustafa Ali actually carved his own path. He actually did a work shoot, you know, like one of his first appearances after the cruiserweight tournament. He's like, you look at my name and you think one thing, and like originally they were trying to make him a heel, and he felt that heel heat, and he immediately flipped the script on him. He's like, and all of a sudden he becomes this force for the change. The way he did his promos, a lot of that stuff he went off script for.
He started out his career like that, like the basic character, like
Yeah, so
Arab character everybody has, and
he broke the mold, and I think that's what Jordan Miles is trying to do. I think he's trying to break the mold.
so what?
Unemployment?
Well, again, I think it's a work.
Okay, maybe it is a work, but I don't think Vince would go on a racist thing for. I think that's really going down a bad
Really?
social media.
You don't think he'd go on a racist thing yet? There's the second Cuck storyline going on in 5 months on WWE. Well, more on that later.
Okay.
The Rusev Lana situation.
All right, so we've got that. The big news out of today, at least I heard about it today, was Miz and Paige re-signing for multi-million and year deals. I can see Miz. I honestly can't see Paige. What benefit is Paige for a multi-year, multi-billion-dollar contract if she's right now? There's no work for her to be a manager. It's basically maybe Fox paying her to be on WWE backstage. But if CM Punk's going to be there, why do you need Paige?
Nia Jax has been going back and forth with Paige about wanting to be her manager when she comes back.
So the happy cripple because she can't do much.
Yeah, but we'll see what happens. And she always got a good.
I think we have a question.
Yes, we have a question from our studio audience.
Think she's just leveraging AEW because AEW might let her wrestle just for maybe a couple matches on a lighter schedule.
But she already resigned.
Yeah, I know, but that's
So I mean,
Why?
the marriage is over.
that's why they resigned her because she might be she.
So you're suggesting that it's Vince McMahon just wanting to keep all his toys in the
Yeah.
box?
Exactly.
Okay,
That's
I
I mean
can live with
because
that,
you got to think about it. Back in WCW, everyone was leaving.
but if you go to AEW, there's no health plan.
Right.
Ask John Moxley where his health plan's coming from. And
Renee.
Vince is still paying for that, and after the match, he needs it.
But,
All right.
you know,
Money? Okay. Aaron, thank you for listening. Yes, we're a little echoey. We're doing a speaker outside the mall, so outside the mall here at the lovely Boulevard Mall, they can hear us. And Tommy, if you can turn it down a little bit, maybe we won't be so echoey. And Chief, hit the bell because people say we can't hear the bell. Did you hear the bell? Bell's in.
Fellas.
All right. Today, 2 anniversaries.
Rest in peace, Eddie Guerrero.
Absolutely.
Viva la Raza.
Does anybody else know what the other anniversary is?
not
So-
offhand. No.
Okay, it's
Well, I know
pop,
if-
pop culture
Okay, it's
movie.
wait. What is today's date? Is it the 13th? November 13th?
Okay, well,
I'm drawing a blank. I don't know.
Like, come on.
Chief, hit the bell. Aaron says he now knows you're here, so I want to make sure. Okay, Porky's was released.
Okay. Porky's, okay. All right.
All right, so
Fair enough.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about Sin Cara.
Okay, yeah.
Fill us in. Matt, okay, wait a second. Whoa. Hey, Aaron, I know you're watching.
All right.
Johnny just turned over the microphone to Matt.
All right.
Trying to get him
Cara asked for a very lengthy statement on Instagram saying that he thanks everybody, but he's asking for his release from WWE. And within a matter of hours, WWE was like, no. So he's stuck in his contract, and with all his grievances, he's probably going to be sitting at home, traveling Mondays for no reason, waiting for his contract to run out.
You know, the worst part is they could let the guy go. Was it Jorge Arias? Who'd he go?
Yeah.
They could let him go and just stick Angel Garza in the Sin Cara mask.
Didn't they do that for a while too?
Well, it was originally Mystico, then it was Himiko. And like that's the thing, you can still keep the Sin Cara character irrelevant without keeping the same guy under the mask.
Suicide who?
TJP?
Christopher Daniels.
Crystal Daniels? Kazarian? I think every member of SCU has been suicide at least one time.
Not Scorpio.
Not Scorpio?
Not Scorpio.
Okay.
Okay. Our studio audience here is chiming in. We appreciate that. We've got Chief. We got Tommy here from FSW fame. We took the bell away from him, though, for those who remember those days.
Worst guest timekeeper
I'm
ever.
kind of curious. Okay, I'm watching Aaron. He's unfortunately not with us. His lovely wife is resting at home. He's taking care of her, but he's chiming in quite a bit on the live stream.
It's almost like he's here.
Yes. I was going to bring out the head, but I forgot.
Oh, we should have
gave
grabbed
him-
the
Oh, so
dinosaur.
I get the mannequin head, but Aaron gets nothing. He's allowed.
Yeah, he's allowed to.
You picked the wrong week to be gone.
I see the head. And you know what? I won't be here next week, so you're probably going to have the head back.
Don't freak. Put that on the list, guys.
Okay. Bring dummy head.
Can you help me on the forehead?
Okay.
All right.
Big brother is watching us. Yes.
Eagles need some help too.
Big brother is definitely watching us. First of all,
Hey, I didn't have to watch my team lose this weekend. It was
Only
my-
because they had a bye week.
mine had a bye week too. We played little brother this weekend.
Although I did have to watch my Penn State Nittany Lions lose to the Gophers. Still stinging about that.
Yes.
Pretty sure Aaron is too.
Yes, I was going to mention that later. In,
No need.
Okay.
The pain is real. I've already poured salt in all the rooms. You can't hurt me anymore.
Well, I'm going to do a cheap pop for my store here. We're here at the Boulevard Mall in Las Vegas, Nevada. It's the center of the city. Power Play Sports Collectibles. We broadcast here every Wednesday night at 7 p.m., rain or shine sometimes. And at least two of us will be here, sometimes all four. We have our studio audience. If you come down, you get a free gift, wrestling related. And I am going to give Tommy his free gift now for coming down.
Oh, Ricky Steamboat?
Yes. And he's going to open it up, and in a few minutes we'll find out what is in the lovely gift bag. But here at the Boulevard Mall, we have our store, Power Play Sports Collectibles. And in December 13th through the 15th, we're having the Sports Cards, Toys, and Collectibles show. Yeah, we'll have a bigger
Yeah, I don't
next week.
even think. Yeah, you can't even see that.
But we have
That's so tiny.
former Major League All-Star,
And
Rookie of the Year,
pro wrestler hopeful.
and boxer. Jose Canseco, he will be signing autographs here along with the original Tinkerbell. There we go. You can come down or you can go online. Nice. Just like your Penn State. Anyway,
Oh.
anyway, the original Disney Tinkerbell, Margaret Kelly will be here. She was the body model back in Peter Pan. And then for the wrestling fans who are listening, wait, we got the ad and yeah, just a
Start to know it.
There we go.
There we are.
Yeah.
For the WWE fans, we have Simon Gotch coming in, signing autographs, along with WWE Hall of Famer Tony Ellis, which we mentioned. And he will be here both days. I talked to him earlier today, and he will be here both Saturday and Sunday,
Oh,
signing
nice.
autographs. And he brings some artwork, too, that he does, little comic caricatures and things
Oh.
like that. So come on down, meet all four. And Tommy has opened up his gift bag.
What we get?
What we get, Tommy? And just tell people what you could get if you come down here.
Oh, you're pretty on the spot.
Yeah, I put you on the spot.
Yeah. Okay.
We got
Making
Iron
it humble?
Sheik autograph.
Cheeky baby. Best Twitter account in the business.
Yes. Teddy Hart.
Teddy Hart, one of the up and coming Hart family. There we go.
Sammy Callahan.
Sammy Callahan.
The
He-
Impact Heavyweight Champion.
Is that
for a
covered in
little
spit?
while.
Is that covered in
Come
spit?
January.
Uh-huh.
Is that an autograph covered in spit?
I don't know. But
Okay.
this one.
I honestly, well, there we go.
Bobby and Nick. Rest in
Yep.
peace.
Yeah,
Oh.
sign,
I like that.
legend, Hall of
Got it
Famer,
right.
Las Vegas resident,
Yep.
trainer of Funny Bone,
Yep.
one of our local stars here for many years,
Godfather.
WWE Hall of Famer and a Las Vegas local, Godfather.
And Las Vegas local business owner.
Yeah, absolutely.
He supports single women.
Yes, he does.
Single moms.
Small
This
too.
one's pretty.
And we got Road Warrior Animal.
That's right.
Scott's favorite autograph guest ever.
Come on down and we'll talk about Road Warrior Animal. And interesting character. We'll just put it that way.
Thank you.
And thanks, Aaron, for the comments. He is obviously bored.
His wife must be asleep.
You know, there is a thing called Disney Plus that we'll talk about later, but
Yeah.
it's only $7.99. I feel like a WWE.
$6.99.
Yeah, $6.99. All right, so let's continue on now that I got my cheap pop of the commercial. And if you also want to be a sponsor, we have two gentlemen here, 1 and 2, that you can call or update or text or send by carrier pigeon. If you want to be a sponsor on the show here, get a commercial, come down and also talk about your business. We will gladly take your sponsorship.
I'm really good at doing live reads. Just saying.
I call those ribbon readers.
Yeah, well, you know, radio, it's a business.
Absolutely.
Got to keep the lights on.
Well, let's talk briefly about the Indie Report.
Well, we're not gonna. We're just gonna gloss over this Rusev and Lana thing because I got something to say.
What?
Right?
No way.
I know.
Okay. For those who haven't watched, Rusev and Lana have split up, and Lana is with,
Bobby Lashley.
and it's getting a little raunchy.
It's getting a little cringy.
And
A lot.
it's a storyline that has been redone too many
Well,
times.
just a few months ago, we were doing this with Mike Kanellis and Maria Kanellis, and I think they both finally said nope.
Yeah,
So they're like, okay,
exactly.
pivot. Rusev and Lana, what are you doing?
And
And the fact that Rusev has actually come out defending the storyline, but also breaking kayfabe, saying that he and his wife are solid in their relationship, and that they are like, you know, they're deeply committed to their characters.
well, I can say this from what I hear and what Matt's put on the run sheet. Lana is backstage saying she's very uncomfortable with this. And
Well, yeah,
she
now
should be. I
she
mean,
should be. It's, you know,
She's the one that came out and publicly stated that they were a couple and getting married and things of that
Mhm.
nature, which kind of pissed off Vince McMahon because obviously it was breaking kayfabe.
well, it's like this goes to like, okay, I was watching that episode of WWE Backstage, and they brought this storyline up, and Renee Young was like in defense of it, and Paige,
I'm sorry.
everybody else was saying how cringy and how uncomfortable the entire thing was, but Renee Young was defending it, and her excuse was, "You said you wanted the Attitude Era back. We're giving it to you, and you're complaining." I'm like, no, this is not what we wanted from the Attitude Era. We want Hell in a Cell between The Undertaker and Mick Foley. We want, the First Blood matches, the Inferno matches. We want the edgy storylines, but we don't want choppy your pee-pee again. And that seems like that's all we're getting. We're getting like they're cherry picking the worst parts of the Attitude Era, giving it to us and saying, well, what? We're giving you what you asked for. I'm like, no, even the Attitude Era was not perfect and had terrible storylines, which we still make fun of to this day, 25 years later. So like, they're basically saying we can have our cake, we can eat it, but they're taking a big steaming dump on the cake before they hand it to us. I mean, if you want to talk about going back to the Attitude Era, AEW's doing it right.
I agree.
You know,
Shocking.
If it goes back to like full Attitude Era, Lana's better be pregnant with a hand.
oh god, yeah. Oh,
Well, Aaron is real. Aaron just made a comment. Johnny, he would like to have you stand up so you can see.
oh wait, why? Okay, what? My hairy Bullet Club shirt?
You just met.
Drink it in, man.
You just made Aaron's day. I don't think that's really what he meant. But
Oh. Want me to stand up? I'll stand up.
you say that now when he's not here. Matt, what do you think about the Lana and Rusev storyline? Does it need to just end?
I just need it to be over. It's too cringy to watch.
And the worst part is when is the payoff? Because they usually like to have a payoff for these things at a pay-per-view, but Survivor Series seems pretty stacked with a stacked card already. Does that mean we gotta like deal with this for another month into the December pay-per-view?
Probably in another month of Johnny interrupting me as usual.
Oh,
He's
sorry.
already finished
See,
what
the
I was
bell is supposed to
saying.
help that.
Yes, Bell, please.
See, now I shut up.
I need that on recording.
I realize now why Aaron wanted the bell. It just clicked. Sorry, it took a week to the light bulb to go on.
I just want the storyline to be over because this is getting like too cringy. But it's given some wrestlers like, I can't believe Rusev actually said this is like the best storyline in years in all of wrestling. It's got to be like the ultimate company man or just grateful he's back on TV. But this is out of hand now. It's
And
just,
he said, yeah, twice now.
it is out of hand, and
You-
a lot of better not be giving birth to a hand, or I think people will riot or something.
So the way I'm seeing it is, you know, like when Punk left, he left a scathing exit interview. When Moxley left, he had that scathing exit interview with Jericho on his podcast. I'm just waiting for the day that Rusev and Lana are like finally cut free of WWE's tethers. I really want to know what they have to say about the company once they're not on the company preview.
I have to say one thing. Don't ever burn that bridge.
Oh man,
Because you know what? Your life in wrestling is too short. Vince McMahon has the cash. And how many times have they all gone back to that well?
Punk's back.
For all the crazy stuff people have done to Vince, I think it's an unburnable bridge because you could sue him for $100 million and
He
he'll
gives
come
one,
back somehow.
and he still gives up one XFL team.
Never say never.
Yeah, never say never. Eric Bischoff, who?
Oh.
So let's continue on with the bell, please. Indie report. We were talking about that. Yes, I did try to gloss over because I want the storyline to end also. But for the indie guys here in Las Vegas, we have BBW. Johnny, fill us in on what they got coming up.
All right, so this Saturday we're going to be at the LGBTQ Community Center. For those that don't know, a couple months ago there was a rather nasty graffiti attack there where they tagged a bunch of homophobic slurs across the front of the community center, which we've banded together with the LGBT community to have a fundraiser, which we're going to be doing this Saturday. It's called Fighting Against Graffiti. Yes, the initials are intentional. It's a way of taking it back. And we've got a lot of good matches, including Kevin Duckets, the Las Vegas champion, going against Tommy Purr, an openly LGBTQ wrestler, in a flag match.
I have no comment.
Well, I mean, it's shaping up to be a really good card. We've got a lot of volunteers.
I respect what they're doing, and the flag match, I don't get. Why don't you just have a regular match?
Well, because they've already done the regular match.
Because they got to get the rainbow flag in there.
Well, not just that.
Wow.
Actually,
McMahon Jr. here.
I support it, but it's just has to happen apparently.
Well, it's shaped up to be a really good show, and a lot of local talents devoting their time and effort to this regular
I respect it. Don't gimmick it. That's the only thing I can
Yeah.
say.
Okay.
Just have a good match, clean card, and take the donations, put them to great use. But once you start gimmicking things, it kind of takes away from the charity, and it takes away that sting. It should really just do, die-hard good matches. Give the fans what they want to see. Stay away from the gimmicks, because it could go awry really, really quick.
Well, fair enough. I mean, it's it's a good cause, and I hope to see a lot of our listeners there supporting. So.
Okay, Aaron just chimed in and said it's going to be a great card. He agrees with LGBTQ flag versus the Ducats flag.
The delinquent flag.
The delinquent, is that what he's?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, glasses.
Because Ducats, in typical heel fashion, he is pro graffiti.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Wonderful. All right, other indie reports. FSW has a card coming up. Matt, can you tell us about their big battle royal with the winner going to face Chris Bay?
That's going to be a good match. I'm looking forward to it. That's how Bay got his start pretty much, was winning that match and going against
Was it
Hammerstone at the time. And that pretty much put Chris Bay's name out in the Las Vegas scene. Everybody knows who Chris Bay is now.
Plus, I mean, we're not just talking about that battle royal. There's also some other really good matches signed for that card as well. We have the triple threat ladder match for the No Limits title. Damian Drake defending champ against Ice Williams and Remy Marcel.
That's going to be a good one.
That's going to be a really good match.
Hammerstone will be in.
Hammerstone is he's on the card, as well as a first blood match with Greg Romero and Kyle Hawk. Yes, the Native Warrior Kyle Hawk and Greg Romero first blood match.
Did we hear something from it?
Oh, hey!
Oh, so our captain captive audience here is now being shown the fact that the Golden Knights are playing the Chicago Blackhawks here.
Boo.
Yeah. Great. There goes our ratings. We thought it was AEW.
Oh, we're up to
What's the score for the people who are listening?
2-0.
Knights.
2-0
Nice.
Knights.
Go Knights, go.
It's not the third period yet.
So,
Season ticket holder. All right, let's talk about the other. We'll call it FSW Kevin Cross, Killer Cross.
Natural
Natural
Born
Born
Killers.
Killers, December 13th. Names to be announced, but Simon Gotch obviously will be in for my event, and also the Natural Born Killers. We have Killer Cross, who should be soon somewhere. You would think.
Unshackled.
Yes. And then TJ Perkins, just to name a few. Last time they had a surprise guest in John Moxley.
Yes.
So I wonder if they have any surprise guests this time. We have people waving at us through the window here at Power Play Sports Collectibles at the Boulevard Mall. You're more than welcome to come in or go see a movie or a Christmas shop. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.
Scott, I hate to break it to you, there are 12 days of Christmas and none of them are in November.
I've
tell that to
already,
Home Depot
I've
and
already,
Walmart.
I've already
You know-
decorated the store here. For those that can't see the camera, we have decorated the store. We are in Christmas mode. Yes, you are the Grinch. That's
I am not the Grinch. I am Mr. Holiday after Thanksgiving.
You work in retail, suck it up.
Not anymore. I tendered my 2 weeks notice.
Aaron, you heard that. That means you can be on time from now on.
Oh,
Maybe. Moving on.
Yes, moving on. All right, Impact and AEW. We got to spend a little bit of time with Impact and more time with AEW. Because Impact, what do we have for Impact, Matt?
Tessa Blanchard versus Sami Callahan's official for the next pay-per-view for the Impact World Heavyweight Championship.
Hard to kill pay-per-view. I think they owe Steven Seagal.
I was going to say, is that a Steven Skull title right there?
Hopefully it's better than the movie. But it is Impact.
That should be like the name for Impact because they've been hard to kill for like 10 years.
They're like the cockroach of the wrestling world. Just when you think they're
Well,
going under.
they have one major talent. Obviously, Tessa, we've talked about her. She's, in my opinion, she's holding that company up in any ratings during the card they had here. Everybody was just, chanting, "We want Tessa," including myself and
I
Matt.
started those chants.
Yes, but she's the only major talent that they have.
I mean, what is the future for Impact once she's gone? Because I don't think they have the money to sign her.
There's no money there, but what do you do to keep her? Or they tempt her to keep her?
Play on her heartstrings. I mean, especially if she winds up winning the belt, what more is there to do?
Well, we talked a little.
What more is there to
We
do?
talked a little bit about this with Aaron last week, and he's giving us a things here on the chat room. But Aaron, when Aaron was here, he was talking about.
I actually believe I know what Aaron's referencing. It's
Yes.
something he and I talked about the over commercialization of Christmas, but they don't over commercialize Hanukkah. And me as a Christian, I'm actually offended by the fact that they're using one of my religious holidays as an excuse to make money. That's why I'm against anything to do with Christmas, especially in a retail setting.
For those customers
Outside
listening
season.
to Power Play Sports Collectibles, we are celebrating the holidays and Christmas here. So do not be afraid to come down. I will deal with this gentleman later.
It's just my hot take on it. And Aaron and I are kind of in agreement about it. So at least I got half of us on my side.
Less Christmas gifts, I got
They
about
got
Yeah,
the
exactly.
Christmas stuff in our hotel.
Yeah, ask Aaron to tell you the Home Depot stories.
Oh, I heard about that last
Use
night.
Yeah.
Home Depot and wooden board. Never mind. Anyway, Tessa.
Tessa.
We talked about her having the championship match, possibly winning the title. Can't hold a straight face. And what does that, and Aaron talked about it, and it's getting bigger, but how does that realize the worth of a men's title, which normally called, and having her being a major title holder if it happens? How does that affect the history, and especially does anybody really care about the history of that, but how does that affect the wrestling game?
Well, I mean, that is a belt that AJ Styles has held. It is a belt that Samoa Joe has held. It's
Sting.
Sting.
Kurt Angle.
Kurt Angle. It's a belt that a lot of current Hall of Famers and future Hall of Famers have held. but now you're going to have a woman holding it. But at the same time, they've already done this. WWE did it in the 90s by putting the Intercontinental Championship on China.
That's not the main belt.
It's not the main belt, but I think it's progressive as hell. And I think it's a coup for, women superstars as a whole.
I think it'll draw a lot of impact or a lot of attention to Impact, which they desperately need,
It'll put butts
and
in
it'll
seats.
put a lot of attention on Tessa, which that'll be good for her, as everybody knows, and give her more money when she goes to WWE.
Absolutely.
It definitely drives her market.
By far.
Oh yeah.
And Dan was very proud. Hey, we got Matthew watching now. Aaron is still there, and a few other listeners that I've been collecting, which Aaron is so good at. He always looks down and tries to capture, give kudos to everybody listening. Where you can listen to us on
TuneIn, Stitcher, Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Pandora, and everywhere else you listen to podcasts.
that is the Clark County School District of Education. He ran right down that list.
All right, so who wants to talk about Full Gear? I do.
Renee Young.
Yeah, not proud of her health insurance plan is going to be put to the task.
They've
Yeah.
been their premium
Yes.
already.
Well, but they got it here. I hate to say this because I want to. Well, you know what? I'm going to start off with. Oh man, Johnny, talk about AEW, please. And we've only got 25 minutes left.
Okay, well, I mean, there's a lot to talk about. It was a solid card. From
Okay,
top to
Matt, go
bottom.
ahead.
I'll put the time.
She's putting me on a timer.
Oh wait, yes, he did that a couple weeks ago when he wasn't here. Chief, give Johnny 2 minutes on the heavyweight title match.
Oh man, you talking about Cody versus Jericho?
Absolutely.
I thought it was match of the night. I know a lot of the attention's been focused on the Moxley Omega match, but in terms of storytelling, in terms of
The
actually,
Hulk just walked by our store.
hey, you're cutting into my 2 minutes here.
I'll give you just
All right.
10 seconds.
So, all right, and that was not Lou Ferrigno. So,
I got
Rough
a
a
chain,
little bit
chain of thought. Is
all right,
no.
all right,
Start
so-
us 2 minutes over.
So anyway, the heavyweight title match between Jericho and Cody had a good storyline leading up to it, especially with Cody. A lot of people thought Cody telegraphed the end of that match by saying, "Oh, if I don't win, I'll never challenge for the world title again." But the way the finish of that match, for one, from start to finish, that match was a masterpiece of storytelling between. Cody's becoming an old hand way before his time, and getting a reputation for working these really good storytelling old school matches. He also had a really scary bump where he did that tope over the ropes and just took a full on faceplant into the ramp.
Finish of that match almost.
That was not blading. That was not blading. Cody flat out busted his face open and finished the match like a professional. And the way the finish with the MJF throwing in the towel, it set it up to where the stipulation could be argued. Because Cody never tapped out. Cody never admitted defeat. He never passed out. And it led to the MJF heel turn, which we all knew was
Wait.
coming anyway.
He didn't say I quit.
He didn't say
I
I
think that could have come from somebody that might be with the company. For those old timers like Chief and myself, Tully Blanchard, Magnum TA, the I quit, and never said
Yeah.
I quit.
Never
So it still leaves Cody open for a rematch. It still leaves the storyline to continue, especially with MJF now in there as an unstable element.
I have a rule here: if you bring food into my store,
You got to share.
yes, or bring additional. Anyway, yeah, one of our customers just brought ice cream in the store.
So I'm excited to see the next chapter of this whole MJF.
Well, first of all, for any
Jericho
wrestling
and
fan
Cody.
knows, I quit, retirement,
Mhm.
Terry Funk, they don't work. So, it was a nice storyline that the people bought into it. I think keeping the belt on Jericho is a great move for
Yeah.
the company. He is the best, in my opinion, right now on the microphone.
Oh hell yeah!
His work is obviously, he's older now, so his work isn't as sharp as it used to be.
I will say one thing, that promo Cody cut last week in the Go Home show, that was money.
Absolutely.
That is how a wrestling promo should be.
And I think keeping the belt on Jericho, he has a national name
Mhm.
versus Cody. Unless you say Cody Rhodes, people don't know who he is on a national scale.
He does need to embrace the rules.
He can't.
It's copyright.
It's copyrighted. It's copyrighted.
Now, even if he went as Cody Runnels, I think people would still.
No, it has to be Rhodes.
The only thing they didn't get was they could go by Cody and Brandy Rhodes because Brandy was never known as Brandy Rhodes in WWE.
Was she
so
Eden?
she can call herself Brandy Rhodes. Yeah, she was Eden Styles
That's right.
in WWE.
No relation to AJ.
Okay. He might think so.
No TNA storyline there.
So Matt, your take on the match? How does this continue for Jericho and Cody?
I think it was a really good match. It was definitely like the best match on the card. I say it'll end that story. It kind of will end that storyline for Jericho. I think we'll move on to somebody else. He should start pushing like the younger guys to get their names up there. To get like more name recognition on some of the smaller name people that a lot of people don't know about. And Cody's definitely going after MJF after this.
Oh, absolutely, it does set that whole match and storyline up. Other matches on the card were the triple threat tag team.
That was just a entertaining as hell spot fest from start to finish.
I thought they put the belts on the Lucha Brothers since obviously SCU has an injury and the third man is really in.
But the third man made his return.
Absolutely, well, tell us.
Yeah. So of course, at the end of the match, Christopher Daniels revealed himself to be part of the match and jumped the Lucha Brothers. So that's definitely going to set the feud between the two teams there. A lot of bad blood because of course they injured Daniels a few weeks ago, but Daniels is back.
Wonderful. Yeah, how many times has he done the under the mask and storyline?
Well, he was suicide.
Yeah,
Suicide.
And what about LAX, as I still refer to them as, versus the Young Bucks?
That actually surprised me. Santana and Ortiz, I wasn't sold on them. After this match, I was. They established themselves as legitimate contenders, legitimate top tier tag team talent. And when I go back to that opening press conference when the Young Bucks said we will have the best tag team division in the world, and sure enough, they do.
They do.
They
Those guys are
really
like
do.
business.
You know.
Those matches with them on Impact between Lucha Brothers and LAX.
And what about
They'll start a show for like a year.
what about old man Ricky Morton busting out a Canadian Destroyer?
I think that match was freaking awesome. The Lucha Brothers, I would figure would be tag team champions by now. I honestly thought they were gonna win, but it was a cool little thing for Daniels to dress up like Pentagon and come out. So yeah, I thought it was good.
Well, I think what everybody's hoping for in the future is the Young Bucks versus the Lucha Brothers. And let's just build to that. Take the time.
We haven't seen that 4 times already.
Yeah, but you haven't seen that on AEW.
Yeah, we have. The ladders of death, the Escalera de Muerte. That was like one of the craziest matches I've ever seen.
Pay-per-view was.
It was a pay-per-view.
Yeah, it was.
That was all out.
Oh,
And then they went against each other at Double or Nothing
I give
too.
you that one.
Those were probably the 2 greatest tag team matches I've ever seen.
Why not do it again?
And one of them I saw live. So,
Yeah, that was badass. Double or Nothing better come back to Vegas.
yeah, there.
They are.
I actually, Cody announced a few months ago that a lot of future AEW pay-per-views, since all their TV tapings are on the East Coast, a lot of their pay-per-views are going to be out here on the West Coast.
Yeah.
And I think Double or Nothing is going to be a Las Vegas staple because of the whole casino motif of it all.
And we talk about the AEW future here, but the one future is anybody going to survive or medical aid, whatever they can do health insurance wise with the Moxley and Kenny Omega match.
That match was insane.
You said every match is insane.
That was like insane square.
Insane square.
Okay.
Give us a 2-minute, Chief, synopsis of the match.
They literally hit each other with everything except the kitchen sink, and I really think if the kitchen sink was under the ring, it would have been bashed over one of their heads. And this thing had everything from Mr. T's chains to a bed of barbed wire to probably the nastiest looking butterfly DDT, paradigm shift, dirty deeds, whatever you want to call it, the nastiest looking one I've ever seen.
Didn't they have mouse traps on a board?
Oh yeah. Kenny Omega brought out a board of mousetraps.
Peter's complaining.
And being Kenny the Cleaner brought out a broom with barbed wire.
I saw that and he dusted his back off and blood all over the place.
Oh yeah, what about stuff in Moxie's mouth? Broken glass, V-triggered him right in the bush.
Renee Young's Twitter during this match was freaking hilarious.
You know,
For those who don't know, Renee Young, WWE announcer for WWE Backstage and former announcer for Raw. She is married to Dean Ambrose, John Moxley, and both Las Vegas residents here and Knights fans.
huge fan of the Shield.
Yeah, she still says that.
I like the Shield. Oh man, you know what? I can just imagine Renee Young's face during that match. Am I the only Game of Thrones fan here?
Yes.
No.
Remember that scene where the mountain killed the Red Viper, and you saw Ilaria Sand just like I just picture Renee Young making that same face throughout that whole match. Oh man, that was just crazy. That was Attitude Era. That's what we want back.
But does that fly on? Well, this was a pay-per-view, and a lot of people who aren't listening or who aren't watching us or listening to us tonight, they're probably watching either NXT or AEW
Mhm.
Dynamite. Dynamite is kind of pushing the envelope a little bit with their language and their storylines and matches, and it's starting to hurt them on the advertising dollars because that's what you have to be on TV. It's for those who don't know advertising dollars. A lot of the language and is pushing the envelope a little far.
I would say save the language for the pay-per-views.
Absolutely.
You don't need you can have and I'll drop some language on here. We're not FCC regulated. You can have Adam Page talking about busting out some cowboy shit on a pay-per-view, but I wouldn't do it on a weekly broadcast on TV.
Yeah.
True.
And Matt, tell us a little bit on your opinion. Well, tell us who the winner of the match was. We haven't even talked about that.
Well, I mean, it was Omega it was John Moxley with that disgusting DDT on the bare plywood of the ring.
Yeah, basically what Moxley did throughout the match was take the ring apron down, the mat, peel it up, and for those who think it's a trampoline or other thing of that nature,
no.
it is typically plywood. Yeah.
Padded wood.
Yeah, and showed the world what underneath a wrestling mat looks like. Took the little 1-inch foam away and basically, did them right there on the plywood. End of match. It was
brutal looking.
It was probably one of the most brutal matches I've seen since the days of Terry Funk and Mankind, Mick Foley, Cactus Jack, whatever you want to call him.
It's still not as brutal as I've seen Moxley get in the past, though. I mean, to know that this was only like half Moxley.
Half Moxley.
Like, have you seen full Moxley? Have you seen his CZW stuff?
True.
Oh my God,
He's crazy.
he's insane. Yeah, but you really get a sense of how badly WWE misused him.
Was he misused?
I think he was. I mean, ever since the Shield, he was just listless. The Shield was a good angle for him, but after that, they had nothing for him.
He did win a heavyweight championship.
Live in Las Vegas.
Started.
Intercontinental championship.
He had transitional champion written all over him at that point. Now, I honestly feel like if he challenged for the AEW belt, he'd be a legitimate contender after that match.
Oh, absolutely.
They're making a star out of him.
Yeah, and I think down the line, I think Cody and Jericho's kind of made their run, obviously. So who's next up for Cody then would be maybe Moxley, especially if they're going by the win-loss record.
But this, keep in mind, this was not counted.
Oh, yes. I'm sorry. It was
A
a
lights out.
non-sanctioned lights out match.
Technically, though, if it was a lights out match, how can they still have all the lights on?
Cameras are still on. They didn't cut no power.
Right?
Well, they were in California, so PG&E didn't have anything to do with it. All right, let's continue on. Full Gear recap. Anything else for AEW that we missed?
I know you guys bash on the women's division a lot, but on the pre-show, Britt Baker and Bea Priestley had a really good, hard-hitting female match, and I'm really starting to get sold on Riho.
Well, that's kind of why I was on the pre-show.
Well, Riho was not.
I agree. But
And just the whole storyline leading into that, where basically she was going against her teacher.
I really like to see them try to boost up the women's division more. Putting Brandy with Awesome Kong.
I think, Yeah,
No, I don't think that's going to work.
but I think the very fact that Awesome Kong is there adds legitimacy.
Well, I can tell you somebody I think that would work very well with Awesome Kong. Las Vegas resident cheerleader Melissa,
Oh yeah,
who was Rashid in TNA.
Yeah.
As a manager versus a Brandy Rhodes, because I think Brandy would work better with Cody in the long run.
I think Brandy right now. I think she's nursing a few injuries right now, so she's not actively competing right now.
Right, but she could, she's talking about being Awesome Kong's manager and things of that nature. She could do that with Cody, and I mean, perfect match.
I kind of like this unhinged Brandy. I want to see where it goes because she.
I really think Awesome Kong, they could, tap back into Melissa. She is great at wrestling still. She can get in the ring with Awesome Kong and have a great match and build up that women's division some.
Yeah.
Be a heel turn or face turn, either way you look at it. But they put a lot of money and time into the tag team division, which I think is definitely proving the point. But I think they're really lacking on the women's division.
I agree. They need a big name talent. Like I hate to say it, they need a Tessa Blanchard style name. I don't think Tessa's known to
I don't think so either. Especially we talked about it before we went on the air here. I know we're all AEW fans and want to see it succeed, but I'm a realistic person. But when you see the off-camera angles of the stadiums or arenas that are half full, them saying they're sold out of tickets and they're not, and then having to give them away at the end, what benefit is that? I mean, all you're doing is lying to the public, and when you start giving away tickets at the end, they're not going to buy them the next time.
Because then you can just go to the arena right before and get it for free.
Right? And it's really showing, when the advertisers started looking around the arena and going, why is 2/3 of this arena either dark or curtained off when you're telling people you're sold out? I mean, it doesn't make sense. I can't get their. I mean, granted, they have an unlimited pocketbook right now with Tony Khan, but every millionaire, billionaire gets tired of losing money.
I feel like it does need to start small.
We talked about this.
And they are
ECW
booking out smaller arenas.
Okay.
So if they were to come here to Vegas, they're booking out Thomas and Mack. They're not booking out T-Mobile.
Do you think they try to go big and go into T-Mobile?
I think eventually when they are big, they will.
I don't think they'll ever get that far.
But I tell you what, though, I've never been to a Dynamite taping. The only AEW event I've been to live was Double or Nothing.
Right.
And Double or Nothing was a packed house, and it was a fun energy. It was one of the most energetic, crowd-infused shows I've ever been to in my life.
Yeah, but that was, once again, they told everybody going in, we're sold out in 2 or 3 minutes. We can't get tickets, and tickets were available all over the place.
That day, the same day, they were on a Groupon for like $7-10.
That just doesn't help. Yeah, I mean, it just does not help your marketability later on.
Well,
Don't lie to the public, because then they're not really.
and you know what? I agree with you on that. I believe in a little bit of transparency. So I think we're running low on time. I'd like to move on to some pop culture. Well, Chief has given us.
No.
Okay, all right.
We got time for you to talk.
It's just Chief has given us the he's given us the.
Oh yeah, pop culture. I forgot. Penn State.
Hey,
Okay, yeah.
About them Giants.
still a better record than your Wolverines.
Give you that one. All right, let's talk a little bit of pop culture here. And first of all, Popeyes is still running rampant and body slamming people in the parking lot.
I just think it's a nice statistic that I went on my Twitter rant about. I thought it was ridiculous that they had all this police presence in movie theaters for the Joker premiere, but yet a chicken sandwich has caused more violence in this country than the Joker movie.
I didn't see that on Facebook. Is that not true? I can't figure it out.
No, well, it's true. Nobody's been killed or stabbed over the Joker movie, but yet people have been stabbed to death over a chicken sandwich.
That's my take on pop culture. And
Yeah.
social media.
To me, the big news in pop culture is
Aviation Nation.
oh, is it? What's is that going on in the ballpark?
we gotta leave the best for last.
I know.
But Aviation Nation, for the Las Vegas residents here, Saturday and Sunday out at Nellis Air Force Base, please support the veterans, support the Air Force. They have a huge amount of more planes than you can ever imagine. I actually work out there at the base with our DOE contractor, MSTS.
We got the Thunderbirds, and they're awesome.
I see them every day. They come out
Yep.
and they go practice up at Creech Air Force Base. And so their hangar is right across from our building. So I get to see a free air show almost every day. And I can tell you this, going into work this morning, the planes that were landing under cover of darkness, because obviously got to get them in before the actual event of the day for the Air Force practicing.
yeah.
But leaving work today, Osprey, which are the
Oh,
cover planes that are helicopters and planes.
I always swore that you'd have to order me to take a trip in one of those. I never trust the Osprey.
Seeing the B-52s, just spewing oil all over the place, and just the amount of aircraft out there. Please, I know it's usually on Veterans Day, but this time it's obviously this weekend. Get out there early, support the Air Force.
I'll be there.
They have the F-22s out there.
Absolutely.
Those are awesome.
35s. You got the stealth bomber in there. The B-1.
The Blue Angels are coming?
I think they're coming in.
Yeah,
Remember
Nice.
last time they had like the Raptor, and you see that thing stop in the middle of the air and flip around, and they're like, we can only show you so much of what this thing can do.
the last time the Blue Angels were in here, they actually did a kind of a combined show with the Thunderbirds, and my God, just breathtaking to see both teams out there at the same time doing their individual shows and a joint show. You can't miss that. So that's Saturday and Sunday out there at Nellis Air Force Base.
I'll definitely check that
I'll
out.
be there Sunday.
You'll be there Sunday.
I'll be a
No, you don't got
BBW. I'll be a
Tesla license.
BBW on Saturday, but I'm going to try to make it out there on Sunday. So.
Okay. Well, let's talk about. We've got about 4 or 5 minutes left. Let's talk about pop culture. All I know is thank God I have Verizon because I get a year free. Or I would have
Join us. One of us.
Yes,
One of
I
us.
have gone to the dark side. Well, actually, my lovely wife, who actually is over here tonight, joining us. All I heard was Disney Plus, Disney Plus, Disney Plus.
Disney Plus.
But the best part was her coming home from work on Monday and me going, "Did you hear technical difficulties? They pushed it off a month." The papers were filed at the courtroom the next day. But the puppy dog, kitty eyes of
Got a rib on you?
Oh, she was not happy. Yeah, she was.
Man, that was payment for
Everything.
getting her car.
There's no woman candy
Yeah,
out
no,
on Disney Plus.
Thanks, Matt.
I remember.
Yeah.
No,
Remember
like
a woman you never forget.
I have,
Jesus,
every spare moment of my day has been watching Disney Plus.
you have no job now.
I have a job. I just quit one of my jobs. I still work. Gotta pay the bills somehow.
So you can watch Disney Plus. Anyway, pop culture. The big news this week is Disney Plus. For those who don't have it, you should get it.
What was the first thing you watched on Disney Plus?
We actually watched Mandalorian,
Okay.
which was
First thing after Mandalorian, because I'm not gonna lie.
Steamboat Willie.
Wow.
I had to go, and we both agreed we had to go. Classic, old
Okay.
school, and I forgot how bad Steamboat Willie
Oh,
was.
it's terrible.
God.
I actually
it was good, but it was like he's a badass,
right.
or I'm sorry, Steamboat Willie or Mortimer.
I actually watched one of my favorite movies as a child growing up, and realizing how bad the acting is today. And that was Flight of the Navigator.
Oh, I thought you were going to say like.
Right?
Mary
I
Poppins.
thought you were going to say one of the first 3 Star Wars movies.
No.
20,000 Leagues. Was
No, I wanted to watch something I don't actually own anymore. Something from I actually it was a trifecta. I watched Flight of the Navigator. I watched The Black Cauldron,
Oh, yes.
and then I watched Fuzz Bucket. Who remembers Fuzz Bucket?
We're looking for a new co-host. Put an
Ah!
application.
Although I'm very
Thoughts count
sad,
anywhere.
it doesn't have every Disney movie ever made. I was very sad to see that I couldn't find Angels in the Outfield on there.
I'm sure that'll be there. There's only,
Yeah.
I can tell you this, there's probably only one movie that they won't put out for political
Song of the
reasons.
South.
They need Song of the South.
Yeah,
If there's no Uncle Remus,
yes, we saw that on your Facebook.
Yeah, I did look for Song of the South. I actually own a DVD copy of that.
I actually looked long and
Bootleg?
hard years ago for someone who's over here
Mhm.
for Song of the South, and I was able to find it overseas.
Oh yeah, no.
Wow.
The DVD I have it's a bootleg I bought when I was in Iraq. So
I gotta see that.
yeah,
Politically, what?
what right? Yeah,
Or Japan.
or Japan.
Matt, Disney Plus, your thoughts?
I pre-ordered it. I just been working and between doing this
Can you tell
today
how to
and
do that?
See, I
the
mean,
run sheet and all that stuff. I haven't been able to watch it yet, but I'm watching Mandalorian as soon as I get home from
We won't spoil it from you.
It's good.
It's good.
It's good.
Absolutely. Disney Plus is a way, and we have people walking by the store. They look at the sign. Absolutely. Now with Mandalorian, you've seen it,
Yes.
and I've seen it, and the family's seen it. You have not.
Speaking of red light for Game of Thrones.
About an hour.
Yes. And then I expected text on your opinion.
You will get one.
Okay, good.
I want to be put it in the group chat because
Put it in
I
the
want to
Oh.
hear your opinions.
For me, for those who didn't see it, the end is
Maybe.
amazing. My jaw just dropped.
I will say one thing.
The feels.
Mandalorians finally it actually answered something long and hard that I've been wondering since I was a child, and that's how do you poop in space?
Go home.
You have
On that note,
Now,
on that note,
the vac tube is canon, folks. The vac tube is canon.
well, all I know is Disney Plus was playing at my house all hours of the night, and I woke up 1:32 in the morning. I might be exaggerating, to hearing Jar Jar Binks in my bedroom. I am going to have
Those are nightmares.
Yes, nightmares forever.
I fell asleep watching The Great Mouse Detective last night.
I mean, Sandlot's on there. I mean,
Yeah.
every Marvel.
Not every Marvel.
Not every Marvel.
I heard Infinity War is not on there. The two Spider-Man.
That is a Fox thing. They're still
That's a
working
Fox
through.
thing.
They're working.
Yeah.
I don't think any movie that Spider-Man's in except for Endgame.
Yeah, because they're still working.
The Civil War's on there?
Civil War.
Civil War is on there. That's not a Spider-Man.
Um,
He's in the movie.
Yeah, I think there was another one that was like a weirdo mission. It was like another one of the Marvel movies. Because Infinity War was the one that struck me. It's like, why are you gonna have Endgame without Infinity
Or maybe we just, with as much content is in there, we just miss it.
War?
True that. There's so many movies on there. It takes forever to even.
Is
like,
Black
get
Panther
through
on there?
it
I
all.
think Black Panther might have been one of the, that's not on there. Yeah, Black Panther was the one that I was surprised they omitted. Probably because it's still on Netflix. Actually,
Jordan Miles, did you hear that?
Oh man, you get the bell for that one.
Black Panther is not on Disney Plus.
Ah, for the culture.
Yes.
Now it's Vince and the Mouse.
Yes. All right, so let's wrap it up here for the evening.
All right.
Matt, go ahead. Final
Kid-
thoughts?
Catch our live audio. Probably tomorrow I'll have it uploaded on all of the streaming sites.
Because you have a job.
I'll do it on my lunch break.
Okay. Johnny, your
One,
applications are being placed where?
I have a job. I'm not going to tell you where my new application is being placed.
Cheetahs.
I actually applied there and got denied. You know,
I'm telling the cops.
I used to work at Little Darlings as a DJ.
I have bad dreams right now, Jar Jar.
Right?
Between Jar Jar Binks or this. What is it? If those mix up,
You know
you're
what?
gonna
Y'all are
like
making
people
fun.
lying.
I'm going to go home and watch The Rocketeer.
We're being told to get the you know what out of here. So, Johnny, finish up.
That's just it. I'm going to go home and watch The Rocketeer.
Okay, so you're going to watch Disney Plus, and I'm just going to wrap it up with what they said at Saturday Night Live. Catch us next week, 7 p.m. here at Power Play Sports Collectibles, and we are out of here.
I like that.